Welcome back to Klepper's Corner, a show that can only be defined as one long, manic episode of listening to Trump's incoherent rambling. That actually brings me to our topic today, Trump, but not just Trump, it's actually about Trump's comments on Taylor Swift. You might like her if you're a Gen Z or millennial or whatever. Just after Trump's chaotic debate performance, Swift released a post stating, "I will be casting my vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz in the 2024 presidential election. I'm voting for Kamala Harris because she fights for the rights and causes I believe need a warrior to champion them." The post was actually quite respectful, and she even said, "I've done my research and I've made my choice. Your research is all yours to do and the choice is yours to make." Sounds like a pretty tame endorsement of a candidate and a call for voters to educate themselves and their vote, right? But of course, if you could have guessed it, that doesn't sit very well with Trump, with the man-child ketchup-throwing champion simply posting on his failing app.
"I hate Taylor Swift."
What an extremely mature and presidential thing to say. Not that anyone's expectations for Trump were high, but this certainly lowers the bar. You also had Trump's buddy Elon Musk, the guy that everyone used to say was the real-life Tony Stark, who now has turned into the next keyboard warrior, saying on Twitter, "Fine, Taylor, you win, I will give you a child and guard your cats with my life." I mean, what the hell? How creepy is that? A guy in his 50s telling a lady he doesn't know that he'll give her children. Reddit is down the hall and to the left, Elon, you weirdo. Now, I imagine most are wondering how anyone would think this is newsworthy. And trust me, folks, this is a little absurd, but in this statement, she linked a voter registration website that was clicked over 400,000 times, and a spike in voter registration Google searches can be seen as soon as she made this post. Those are some pretty impressive numbers. To put that into perspective, Biden only won the 2020 election by 40,000 votes among 3 swing states. So it wouldn't exactly be hyperbole to say that we are living in a timeline where Taylor Swift's endorsement and call for people to register and Trump's disdain for her could cost the entire election for Donald Trump. And with that, we are less than 50 days away from Election Day. Thank you for viewing this episode of Klepper's Corner. If you enjoyed, leave a comment, like, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one, folks. It's Jordan Klepper with another episode of Klepper's Corner. Let's get straight into it with Donald Trump. Trump has been holding disastrous rally after disastrous rally. Let's take a look at some of the most eye-catching moments from what I assume are only the most presidential speeches of our times.
Imagine there is no, and I say it all the time, if you wanted to do a movie on some of these people that you're going to be looking at in 2 minutes, if you wanted to do a movie, there's no actor in Hollywood that could play the role. There's nobody that could do it. These actors, you know, they're a little bit shaky. They can't play the role. They'll bring in a big actor and you look, you say, oh, he's got no muscle content. He's got no muscle. We need a little muscle. Then they bring in another one, but he's got a weak face. He looks weak. No, these guys have the whole package, unfortunately for our country. I watched one of them shouting at a judge, "I kill you. I kill you when I get out, I kill you." And, you know, the judge is like, oh, he's never heard this stuff. And even the guards, you know, they want to look for a new job themselves. "I kill you."
It sounds like someone hasn't taken their meds yet, and are you ready for your pudding, Grandpa? Trump rambles like it's nobody's business. I was almost expecting him to go on a tirade about corn pop. Or how about this one, where Trump effectively suggests that the U.S. should consider the purge?
Out that the 950 is a misnomer because you can steal whatever you want, you can go way above. But you'd see, originally you saw kids walk in with calculators. They were calculators. They didn't want to go over the $950. They're standing with calculators, adding it up. You know, these are smart people. They're not so stupid, but they have to be taught. Now, if you had one really violent day, like a guy like Mike Kelly, put him in charge, Congressman Kelly, put him in charge for one day. Mike, would you say, he's right here, he's a great congressman. Would you say, Mike, that if you were in charge, you would say, oh, please, don't touch them, don't touch them. Let them rob your store. All these stores go out of business, right? They don't pay rent. The city doesn't have money. It's a chain of events that's so bad. One rough hour, and I mean real rough, the word will get out, and it will end immediately. End immediately. You know, it'll end immediately.
First, it was Silence of the Lambs, and now it's The Purge. Who keeps letting Donald watch all these movies? You're giving him too many ideas. Next thing you know, he'll be urging people to look for the Infinity Stones. How can anyone hear this and not go, has this man gone mad? Or is this just perfectably acceptable now?
Today's border is 20 times worse than it was in 2016. 2016 was like a great day for this border. 2016, I fixed it. I built hundreds of miles of wall.
So you're telling me that you fixed the border in 2016. Dementia Don strikes again. You weren't even president until 2017, and Mexico certainly did not pay for it.
A lot of people don't give. I know a lot about overtime. I'd hated to give overtime. I hated it. I'd get other people, I shouldn't say this, but I'd get other people in, I wouldn't pay. I hated.
Because nothing says party of the working class than the billionaire head of said party saying that he hated paying overtime, and then in the same breath saying sometimes he refused to pay overtime.
Joe Biden became mentally impaired. Kamala was born that way. Okay? She was born that way. And if you think about it, only a mentally disabled person could have allowed this to happen to our country. Anybody would know this.
Mentally impaired? Sounds like projection coming from Donald, the head of the Republican Party, a person who claims to be a man of God, openly mocking his opponent by calling them mentally disabled, and his crowd claps and cheers. We can all disagree politically while being respectful. But insulting one another, especially like this, is unacceptable. So I'm Jordan Klepper. This was Klepper's Corner. If you liked the video, leave a like, comment, maybe even subscribe. If you disliked it, leave a dislike and a hate comment. Thank you for your time. Have a good one, folks.
Hi, I'm Mike Lindell, founder of My Pillow. You know me for bringing you the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, but now I'm here to solve another problem. Do you find yourself upset because a former president no longer accepts your phone calls, emails, or texts? Are you still butthurt because your favorite candidate didn't win the election? Well, I've got just the thing for you, the My Hemorrhoid Pillow.
I used to spend hours a day on my phone trying to get in touch with you-know-who, but my calls went unanswered. The disappointment was a real pain in the butt, literally. Then I found the My Hemorrhoid Pillow, and now I'm sitting pretty.
Are you tired of that burning sensation every time you sit down to watch election coverage? Do you feel like your backside is screaming, "Stop the steal"? Well, our patented My Hemorrhoid Pillow is here to cushion your fall from grace and give you the comfort you deserve.
As a medical professional, I can tell you that the My Hemorrhoid Pillow offers unparalleled support. Its unique design alleviates pressure, so whether you're watching endless political commentary or drafting yet another email to your favorite ex-president, you can do it all without the pain.
I was feeling the blues after I lost, but this pillow turned my orange jumpsuit blues into a comfy experience. If only I had this kind of support during the campaign.
I used to feel so sore after every interview. Now with the My Hemorrhoid Pillow, I can sit through all my recount videos without any discomfort.
Don't let the election leave you in pain. Order the My Hemorrhoid Pillow today and get the comfort you need to deal with any political fallout. Call now and you'll get a second My Hemorrhoid Pillow free. Just pay separate shipping and handling. Remember, when it comes to sitting through your toughest times, My Hemorrhoid Pillow has got your back and your backside.
Call 1-800-BUT-HURT now. That's 1-800-BUTHURT. Order today.
Good evening, America. I'm Jordan Klepper, and welcome back to Klepper's Corner, where we break down the political madness with a side of sarcasm and a sprinkle of how the hell did we get here? Today, we've got a fun one. We're diving into the wild, wonderful world of North Carolina politics, specifically the lieutenant governor and the GOP's gubernatorial nominee, Mark Robinson. Well, not exactly that fun, because recently the lieutenant governor has been hit with some pretty, let's say, eye-catching allegations. I mean, sure, we all know politicians are prone to scandal, but Robinson, he's pulling out the greatest hits, praising Yahtzees, defending slavery, and getting vulgar, all on a corn site. It's like he's checking all the boxes of things that will definitely get me on The Daily Show. Now, let's unpack these allegations. First, before all of this happened, Mark Robinson was an extremely outspoken and harsh speaker, claiming that black people owe reparations to white people, and in many statements has shown himself to be a downright Holocaust denier, stating on Facebook this foolishness about German chancellor disarming millions of Jews and then marching them off to concentration camps is a bunch of hogwash. And in another statement during church, he claimed, if there's a movement in this country that is demonic and that is full of the spirit of Antichrist, it is the transgender movement. I mean, wow, how awful is all of this? Either the GOP is extremely awful at vetting their candidates, or they just completely welcome absolute bile like this in their own party. But that's not all of it. Then we got the greatest hits not from any public speeches, but a Cornsites forum page that Robinson frequented. In these forum posts, Robinson would directly call himself a black Yahtzee, and he would state that I like watching transgender on girl corn. It's really hot. He'd also call himself a perv, as he would go on to openly recall a story of him as a 14-year-old peeping in the girls' locker room. I mean, most of these posts I can't even read aloud. They're dreadful. And if this is the best the GOP is sending us, then frankly, I don't think they are sending their best. I mean, being openly homophobic and transphobic just to act like this on a forum page. Now, of course, he has come out and said that this is not him, but all of the information that he gave on this forum page directly matches up with him. He would use the same email as many of his public accounts, the same username, same name and backstory. He even uses some of the same slang and jargon that he'd publicly use. This is all pretty damning evidence just for him to say nuh-uh. And of course, he has said that this was all planted onto him by the Democrats. It's the same playbook that any GOP politician uses once they are in hot water. Now, let's not forget what Trump has said about this guy. I mean, Trump literally called Mark Robinson Martin Luther King on steroids and has said that Robinson should be cherished. Robinson must have felt insulted, as years prior he would go onto the forum page and say things about MLK, such as calling the Reverend a commie bastard, worse than a maggot, and would go on to call MLK a slur in the forum page. And I can't even share half of this. This guy is just an absolute basket case. If I shared any more, this video would probably be banned. All of this to simply say Trump and the GOP's as a whole refusal to denounce rhetoric like this when much of this information was public before the leaks is very likely to cost them the election. Robinson is currently polling 10 points behind his Democratic challenger in North Carolina, and that will most likely have an effect on Trump's performance on the ballot there in November. So whenever Trump loses North Carolina and the entire election as a whole, don't be the boy who cried rigged. Maybe instead quit housing absolute nut jobs in your political party. In the meantime, good luck with your gubernatorial race, North Carolina, and stay off the forum pages. I'm Jordan Klepper. This was Klepper's Corner. Thank you all for watching. Have a good one, folks. The vice presidential debate is wrapped up, and it is looking like debate season is over as a whole. Let's look over the VP debate, but one topic specifically, that being January 6th and the peaceful transfer of power.
And it manifested itself because of Donald Trump's inability to say. He is still saying he didn't lose the election. I would just ask that. Did he lose the 2020 election?
Tim, I'm focused on the future. Did Kamala Harris censor Americans from speaking their mind in the wake of the 2020 COVID situation?
That is a damning non-answer.
Has she?
Damning non-answer indeed. I mean, the fact we're still stuck on this issue 4 years later is ridiculous, but it's quite an important issue. If you can't even face the fact that you've lost, then do you really deserve to be president or vice president?
Because look, when Mike Pence made that decision to certify that election, that's why Mike Pence isn't on this stage. What I'm concerned about is, where is the firewall with Donald Trump? Where is the firewall if he knows he could do anything, including taking an election, and his vice president's not going to stand to it? That's what we're asking you, America. Will you stand up? Will you keep your oath of office, even if the president doesn't? And I think Kamala Harris would agree. She wouldn't have picked me if she didn't think I would do that, because of course that's what we would do. So America, I think you've got a really clear choice on this election of who's going to honor that democracy and who's going to honor Donald Trump.
J.D. Vance has claimed that had he been in that situation, he would not have certified the election, subverting the people's will. But the next thing J.D. Vance says is just absolutely false and is frankly disqualifying if everything else wasn't already.
First of all, It's really rich for Democratic leaders to say that Donald Trump is a unique threat to democracy when he peacefully gave over power on January the 20th, as we have done for 250 years in this country. Peacefully.
We just had protesters. Peace circle, preach the line. We need backup.
Peacefully.
Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done to protect our country and our Constitution, giving states a
Peacefully. Peacefully.
We can't hold this. We're gonna get too many fucking people. Look at this fucking bandit point, man. We're fucked.
Peacefully.
Trump peacefully gave over power because he had no choice. The riot that he incited ultimately failed. January 6th is absolutely his fault, as it was based on the false pretenses that the 2020 election was stolen, folks. Joe Biden barely even won. He only won with 40,000 votes across 3 states, Georgia, Arizona, and Wisconsin. If that's stolen, then the Democrats did an awful job. Trump showed weak leadership during the COVID pandemic, and a majority of Americans were sick and tired of dealing with Trump's rhetoric. January 6th would not have happened if Trump simply conceded the election, but he's a sore loser. Before the election even happened, he said it'd be rigged both in 2016, 2020, and now in 2024. Minus the lying, this was a pretty normal debate. I'm Jordan Klepper. If you liked the video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you disliked it, leave a dislike and a hate comment. Thank you all. Have a good one, folks.
Tired of holiday dinners turning into political battlefields? Black September Records presents the perfect gift for those relatives who have been ruining every holiday since 2016. Donald Trump and the J6 Choir live from Rikers Island. The album that brings a whole new meaning to Behind Bars. Featuring hits like Jingle Bell Stop the Steal, Deck the Halls with Election Fraud, and All I Want for Christmas is a Recount. Finally, a gift that keeps on giving, peace and quiet during Christmas dinner. Order now and we'll throw in a free set of earplugs because, let's face it, you're going to need them.
On the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 32 felonies and a solid Rikers seat. Oh man, a fort in pinstripes with gates.
Hey Donald, we need to talk.
Hey hippie, can't you see I'm in the middle of something here? Oh crap,
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Klepper's Corner. Today's episode is going to be quick, but it's quite important. Today we're talking about Hurricane Helene, an unfortunate natural disaster that has displaced many and has taken Americans away from us. In times like these, you'd expect the country to come together. But of course, in the year of 2024, it's being used to score political points. Let's take a quick look, shall we?
Ideally with the governor, that governor needs to... He's been trying to get them, and I'm sure they're going to come through. But he's been calling the president, hasn't been able to get him. But
I just spoke. The president just called me yesterday afternoon. I missed him and called him right back. And he just said, hey, what do you need? And I told him, you know, we got what we need. We'll work through the federal process. He offered that if there's other things we need, just to call him directly, which I appreciate that.
Whoa, that's very nice from the former president. Great job fact-checking before you say something so wildly ignorant. Oh, wait a minute. Speaking of ignorance, let's take a look at this clip. Roll it.
Throughout Georgia, as well as North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Virginia, Alabama, and Tennessee. That's our big one. And the devastation wrought by this storm is incredible. It's so extensive. Nobody thought this would be happening, especially now it's so late in the season for the hurricanes.
Nobody thought this would happen. As we can see with this handy-dandy graphic chart, since I know Donald doesn't like words, we are in the peak of the hurricane season, and if you could remind me, who was the man pushing for members of Congress to get the government to shut down not too long ago? And who rolled back flood standards? Because I'm just not so sure. Donald also falsely claimed that the federal government and NC Democrat Governor Roy Cooper are directly going out of their ways to not help Republican areas. When Trump was asked for proof of this claim, the only words he could muster up were, "Look into it." So he's just creating another story like his VP picked J.D. Vance. And if we really want to play partisan games, then how about in 2017 when Donald Trump was president and Hurricane Matthew had hit North Carolina and Governor Cooper asked for $900 million in recovery money, but was only given 1% of that in $6.1 million. Who's targeting who, Donald? And with that, if the hurricane has personally affected you, I hope you can recover quickly. Stay safe out there. I'm Jordan Klepper. This was Klepper's Corner. Thank you all. Have a good one. It's been a hot minute, folks, but now we're back with a special Klepper's Corner. Today's topic is, of course, the first, well, not exactly the first after the last guy flopped so hard, the second presidential debate between Republican nominee former President Donald Trump and Vice President Democrat nominee Kamala Harris. The stakes were quite high after Biden's extremely poor performance in the first debate, which ultimately resulted in him throwing in the towel. Harris really had to outperform. Let's take a close look at some of the highlights and see how it went for both parties.
Kamala Harris, let's have a good debate.
See you. Have fun.
Thank you.
Welcome to you both. It's wonderful to have you. It's an honor to have you both here tonight.
Whoa, wow, wow. I cannot believe it, folks. Is that a handshake between two competitors in the year of 2024? I mean, pun intended, this is unprecedented. Kamala Harris with the power play and initiating that handshake. What a move.
Bringing us together, knowing we have so much more in common than what separates us, and I pledge to you to be a president for all Americans. I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies, because it's a really interesting thing to watch. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter.
They go crazy when I mention Dr. Hannibal Lecter. You know who that was, right? They say, why does he keep mentioning Hannibal Lecter? Well, you see, he was a slightly troubled patient in an insane asylum, and he'd love to have you for dinner, you right there. He'd love to have you for dinner.
He will talk about windmills cause cancer.
If you have a windmill anywhere near your house, congratulations. Your house just went down 75% in value. And they say the noise causes cancer. You tell me that one, okay? You know, the thing makes it so... And of course, it's like a graveyard for birds. If you love birds, you'd never want to walk under a windmill.
And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you. You will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams, and your desires.
She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. And the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there. And then showing them in a different light. So you can't talk about that. People don't leave my rallies. One of the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics. That's because people want to take their country back. Our country is being lost. We're a failing nation. And it happened 3.5 years ago. And what's going on here, you're going to end up in World War III, just to go into another subject. What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country.
Wow. Just wow. Trump got dog-walked by Kamala right there. She laid out the bait, and he absolutely jumped at it. This man's ego is far too big for him not to brag about his own rally sizes. And here he's spreading the false narrative that there's Haitian immigrants eating people's pets in Springfield. A presidential candidate this year spreading a story like this certainly was not on my bingo card. And on the topic of insane asylums and Hannibal Lecter, I might go criminally insane if I have to listen to Donald Trump scream into that microphone one more time. And with that, I'm Jordan Klepper. This was Klepper's Corner. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Have a good one, folks.
From the makers of Butt Hurt Butt Paste, we bring you the ultimate solution to all your MAGA-induced discomfort. Introducing MAGA Tears.
And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote.
Oh my, another unhinged Trump rally. Looks like you could use some MAGA tears.
Do you often find yourself dealing with the aches and pains brought on by the incessant whining of Trump supporters? Does the constant barrage of conspiracy theories and fake news claims leave you feeling, well, a little butthurt? MAGA Tears is especially formulated to soothe the symptoms of political fatigue, frustration, and general butt hurt caused by excessive exposure to Trump rallies, social media rants, and endless cries of stop the steal.
Hi, I'm Kamala Harris, and I know a thing or two about dealing with persistent irritants. When life gives you MAGA supporters, make MAGA Tears.
Whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or just someone who values a good night's sleep, MAGA Tears is the perfect addition to your self-care routine.
Just a few drops of MAGA Tears, and you'll feel the tension melt away faster than you can say fake news.
Wow. See how well it works even with another news story about how weird J.D. Vance is. She is still happy. Excellent job, MAGA Tears.
Order now, and we'll throw in a free travel-sized bottle, perfect for those unexpected encounters with a MAGA enthusiast on the go.
And remember, MAGA Tears is not just for your mental well-being. It's also great for your skin. Made from 100% organic, all-natural Trump supporter tears, it's packed with nutrients and antioxidants.
MAGA Tears, because we all deserve a little peace and quiet. Available now at all major retailers.
Get your MAGA Tears today and start living a life free of butt hurt.
Warning: side effects may include sudden bouts of laughter, uncontrollable joy, and an overall sense of well-being. Not recommended for use by actual MAGA supporters.
Call and order yours today. Thanks for watching. Make sure to comment, like, share, and subscribe. Support the artists you enjoy.
It's Kleppin' time, folks. Welcome to Klepper's Corner, where we're making America weird, but like in a good way. Speaking of weird, we got the absolutely best VP pick ever, J.D. Vance, tremendous pick Donald, who's in the news for, you guess it, nothing good. J.D. was speaking to firefighters. In fact, the same crowd that VP pick Walz spoke to. And let's just say, the reception Vance got over Walz wasn't exactly great. Roll, roll, roll the clips.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Well, Semper Fi, guys. We got some, it sounds like we got some fans and some haters. That's okay. Listen. Now, President Trump and I are proud to be the most pro-worker Republican ticket in history. And I want to talk about why we're fighting for working people, why we're going to fight for unions and non-union alike.
Ouch, that's gotta hurt, but I think this'll hurt more.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Squidward! Hip hip! Boo! Hip hip! Boo! Hip hip! Boo! Hip hip!
Boo! You stink!
Now, after getting the cold shoulder by these brave firefighters, J.D. then goes on to drop some of his incredible social awkwardness lines in an attempt to, I suppose, charm the crowd. Of course, it doesn't work. A garbage can is more charming than J.D. Vance. Roll the clip.
The Republican and Democrat conventions we just had, it says a lot who each party chose to put up on that stage. At the Republican convention, we were featuring everyday American workers, and of course, we had Hulk Hogan. And while it's tempting and I'm sure it would make some big headlines. Don't worry, everybody. I'm not going to try to take off my shirt here.
Having Hulk Hogan on your side is not exactly the brag that JD thinks it is. And I can say this with absolute certainty that we do not, and I mean do not, need to see you rip your shirt off, JD, unless you're just trying to ruin your chances at winning like you do every time you speak. Then go right ahead. Will J.D. Vance say something cringe? Will he be absolutely repulsive? Will he unequivocally ruin any chance Trump has at winning? Find out on the next episode of Klepper's Corner. Thanks for watching, folks. Have a good one.
And now, a word from our totally legit, totally real sponsor.
Looks like the comedy video has got you upset. Wait. Before you post a negative comment or thumbs down this video, have we got a treat for you? Black September Studios is proud to have Dick's Chips and Snacks be a sponsor of this video. Remember, that's Dick's Chips and Snacks. So eat a bag of Dick's today and smile.
Oh, man, yeah!
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Klepper's Corner, the show where you lose your faith in America, one clip at a time. Today, we're talking about Robert Kennedy Jr., more commonly referred to as RFK Jr. A story was about to break from the New Yorker, so rather than letting them break it, he broke it himself. Oh, God, roll the clip.
I was taking a group of people falconing up in Goshen, New York, up in the Hudson Valley, and I was supposed to meet them there at like maybe 8 or 9. I was driving up maybe, really early, like 7, and that woman in a van in front of me hit a bear and killed it, a young bear. So I pulled over and I picked up the bear and put him in the back of my van because I was going to skin the bear, and it was very good condition, and I was going to put the meat in my refrigerator. And you can do that in New York State. You can get a bear tag for a roadkill bear. And so then we went hawking, and I had the bear in my car. And then we had a really good day, and we went late. We were catching a lot of game, and the people really loved it, so we stayed late. And instead of going back to my home in Westchester, I had to go right to the city because there was a dinner at Peter Luger's Steakhouse. And at the end of the dinner, it went late, and I realized I couldn't go home. I had to go to the airport. And the bear was in my car, and I didn't want to leave the bear in the car, because that would have been bad. So then I thought, at that time, this was the little bit of the redneck in me. There'd been a series of bicycle accidents in New York. They had just put in the bike lanes. And saw a couple of people had gotten killed, and it was every day, and people had gotten badly injured. Every day it was in the press. And so I thought, I wasn't drinking, of course, but people were drinking with me who thought this was a good idea. And I said, I had an old bike in my car that somebody had asked me to get rid of it. I said, let's go put the bear in Central Park and we'll make it look like he got hit by a bike. It'll be funny for people. So everybody thought that's a great idea. So we went and did that, and we thought it would be amusing for whoever found it or something. The next day, it was like, it was on every television station. It was the front page of every paper, and I turned on the TV, and there was like a mile of yellow tape, and there were 20 cop cars. There were helicopters flying over it. And I was like, oh my God, what did I do? And then there was some people on TV in Tyvek suits with gloves on lifting up the bike, and they're saying they're going to take this up to Albany to get a fingerprinted. And I was worried because my prints were all over that bike. Luckily, the story died down after a while, and it stayed dead for a decade. And the New Yorker somehow found out about it, and they're going to do a big article on me, and that's one of the articles. So they asked me, the fact checker said, it's going to be a bad story. I think it's a great story.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack there, but I think I can start by saying what the talk. Guess Trump isn't alone in being weird. In news that can only be described as not for the squeamish, RFK Jr. was seen posing with this bear, getting ready to skin the bear. It's like Bear Grylls meets Hannibal Lecter, but with less finesse and more roadkill. I mean, this is beyond parody. This guy, who's a multimillionaire, is scraping roadkill off the highway and is planning to throw it in his freezer. Oh, but before I do that, let me go to the steakhouse that I made reservations for. At this point, RFK is sounding like a Batman villain. Trichinosis would be a good name for him. I've heard he's familiar with parasites and worms. And let's not brush over the fact that after leaving the bear in his car while at a steakhouse, he ultimately dumped it out at Central Park to make it look like a biking accident. How mental do you have to be to do something like that and think it'd be even remotely funny? Just goes to show how disconnected from reality he is. That's it for this unbearable episode of Klepper's Corner. If you enjoyed, do make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for your time. Have a good one. Welcome back to Klepper's Corner, where we dive into the most absurd moments in politics and ask the tough questions like, are we sure this isn't all just a bad reality show? Tonight we're talking about Donald Trump and his very complicated relationship with the American flag. Now Trump has made it clear that he loves the flag. In fact, he's so protective of it that he once called for anyone who burns the American flag to be thrown in prison for a year because nothing says freedom like locking people up for using their First Amendment rights. Roll the clip.
And we do not need more people who want to burn our flag. I watched yesterday and the day before, they're burning our American flag. And I said, I know they say it's unconstitutional. Well, make it not unconstitutional. You burn our American flag, you should get immediately mandatory 1 year in jail.
A whole year, that's right. Instead of burn a flag, go to jail. Pretty straightforward, huh? But here's where it gets interesting. You see, the proper and respectful way to dispose of an American flag when it's old or tattered is, wait for it, burning it. That's right, folks. So if you're following Trump's logic, we should be throwing the Boy Scouts and veterans groups in jail, too. Roll the next clip.
Now, as you fly a flag, it will inevitably become worn and tattered. And you may wonder, how do you retire Old Glory respectfully? American flags can be retired through a ceremonial burning. Many organizations, including the American Legion, local VFWs, and Boy Scout troops, accept flags for burning and will properly retire the flag. But if your flag's made of a synthetic material like nylon, burning it creates hazardous fumes which are harmful to human health and the environment, so burning is not an option. There are other options, as the flag code states, that flags must be destroyed in a dignified way. Nylon flags can be mailed to the American Flags Express for recycling. There's a fee to cover the cost of sorting, storing, and transporting to a fabric recycler. You might consider a DIY retirement. The Boy Scouts suggest cutting apart your flag, but you have to do it so you don't cut through the blue field of stars. That symbolically maintains the Union. Once cut apart, it's no longer a flag. If you live near a Goodwill, bring the fabric scraps of your former flag for their textile recycling program. If recycling's not available, then disposal in the trash is acceptable since the scraps are no longer considered a flag.
Oh no, someone call the cops. It's like they're out there committing respectful acts of patriotism or something. But hold on, we're just getting started. Let's talk about the latest trend among Trump supporters putting Trump's face on the American flag. You heard me right. They're literally slapping his mug right on Old Glory because nothing says respect for the flag like turning it into a giant Trump campaign banner. I mean, can you imagine if someone did that with Obama's face? The uproar would be deafening. But for Trump, it's apparently the most patriotic thing you can do. The hypocrisy is almost as big as Trump's ego. There it is, folks. The flag is now the ultimate Trump accessory. What's next? Trump-branded apple pie. Maybe a little Statue of Liberty with a Maga hat. So, let's recap. Trump wants you in jail for burning the flag, even though that's the proper way to dispose of it. Meanwhile, his supporters are defacing it with his face and calling it patriotic. It's like a never-ending loop of irony, and we're all stuck watching it. So to all the flag-loving, Trump-worshipping patriots out there, maybe it's time to take a step back and ask yourselves, what exactly are we celebrating here, the flag or the man? Because from where I'm standing, it's looking a lot more like the latter. That's all for tonight's episode of Klepper's Corner. Keep questioning, keep laughing, and remember, sometimes the biggest joke is the one you don't even see coming. evening, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Klepper's Corner, where we sift through the political chaos to find those moments that make you go, wait, what? Tonight, we're questioning the choice of J.D. Vance and looking at the latest shenanigans from Trump's entourage. Buckle up, folks. It's going to be a wild ride. Let's start with J.D. Vance. You might remember him as the guy who wrote Hillbilly Elegy and then decided to join the circus. Sorry, I mean politics. Recently, people on both sides of the aisle have been questioning if he was the right choice. Let's roll the clip.
First, I want to talk about you because you've got a lot of people talking about you on both the Democrat side and the Republican side. You've heard the chatter. They're saying, some people are saying you were the wrong pick for Trump's running mate. What are you doing about it?
Well, Maria, all I can do is go out there and prosecute the case against Kamala Harris.
Wow, that was painful to watch. It's like watching a deer in headlights, except the deer is holding a copy of Hillbilly Elegy and wondering how it got here. Now, let's move on to Trump's recent behavior at the NABJ convention in Chicago. It went about as well as you'd expect, and by that I mean it was a dumpster fire. Here's Chris Christie chiming in on Trump's performance. Roll the clip.
Impulse. You can't imagine that anybody who understands anything about politics would say, hey, here's a great idea. Go to the National Association of Black Journalists and question whether Kamala Harris is really black or not. This is what happens, George, and this is how you can tell that this race is changing. Because what happens is when Donald Trump's ahead and he feels like he's comfortably ahead, he is willing to go with conventional, smart political advice. As soon as he thinks it's getting close, he goes back to the greatest hits. You saw this at the convention. When he didn't think he was getting the reaction he wanted from the beginning of the speech, he went back to the greatest hits. You saw it at the NABJ, and you saw it last night in Atlanta.
Attacking the Republican governor.
Right. Now, here's Brian Kemp, who he has attacked mercilessly since 2020. Sponsored a primary candidate against him, who, by the way, Kemp got 70% of the vote against in the primary, beat Trump's endorsed candidate. And this is a guy who won big in 2022 when lots of other Republicans up and down the ticket, including in Georgia, were losing. And so to attack Kemp is a stupid thing, but this is who he is, George. This is personal. He's juvenile. And so he's going to continue to attack not only Brian Kemp, but the women of Georgia should have heard loud and clear last night. He attacked First Lady Marty Kemp just as viciously as he attacked the governor. And that's the greatest hits. That's what he'll.
Donald, what were you thinking? That's the kind of reaction you get when even your allies are like, dude, maybe tone it down a notch. Now, let's talk about the people surrounding Trump. It's like he collected the weirdest action figures and brought them to life. You've got J.D. Vance, who seems perpetually confused. Chris Christie, who's always hungry for more, literally and metaphorically. And then there's Rudy Giuliani, who looks like he was thawed out from a cryogenic chamber just in time for another bizarre press conference. And who could forget Mike Lindell, the MyPillow guy, who somehow turned from selling pillows to peddling conspiracy theories. I mean, if you told me 5 years ago that a pillow salesman would become a political figure, I'd say you were dreaming on one of his pillows. And let's not forget Trump himself. He's like a reality TV star who never got the memo that the show was canceled. He's the guy who keeps crashing the party, except it's the same party, and he's always in the spotlight. So to everyone wondering if J.D. Vance was the right choice, or why Trump's entourage is so bizarre, I have to say it's like watching the weirdest, most dysfunctional family reunion ever. And you can't look away because it's just too entertaining. Until next time, keep questioning, keep laughing, and remember, politics might be a mess, but at least it's never boring. Seriously, where do they find these people? It's like casting for a reality show gone wrong. Good evening, folks. Welcome to Klepper's Corner, where we dive into the wacky, wild world of politics. Tonight, we're addressing a rather interesting phenomenon. We're talking about Christians who support Donald Trump. Now, to be clear, everyone's entitled to their political beliefs. But let's take a closer look at some of the, shall we say, highlights of the Trump era and see if we can reconcile them with Christian values. Roll the first clip.
I don't know what I said. I don't remember. He's going like, I don't remember. Maybe.
Yes. There's nothing quite as Christ-like as mocking the afflicted, right? Christians, what would Jesus do? Pretty sure he wouldn't be doing that. Next clip.
The Maga.
I don't either way. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the pussy.
Now, I'm no biblical scholar, but I'm fairly certain there's a commandment or two about respecting others. Or maybe I'm thinking of the part where Jesus said, "Thou shalt boast about thy sins on tape." Let's keep it rolling.
But have you ever asked God for forgiveness?
I'm not sure I have. I just go and try and do a better job from there. I don't think so.
Never asked for forgiveness, really? Jesus' whole deal was about forgiveness. If you're not into that, I think you're in the wrong religion, my friend. Now let's dive deeper. For the Christians out there, how do you square this? Is there a passage in the Bible about ignoring humility, compassion, and honesty? Because if so, I must have missed that Sunday school lesson. And before you say, "But he's against abortion," sure, let's give credit where credit is due. But is one stance enough to overlook everything else? I mean, Jesus also said to love thy neighbor, feed the hungry, and welcome the stranger. But hey, let's check out one more clip just for fun.
Prompted the president to question, why are we having all these people from shithole countries come here?
Wow, such Christ-like love and respect for our global neighbors. Nothing says love thy neighbor quite like blatant racism. So to my Christian friends supporting Trump, help me out here. I'm genuinely curious. How do you reconcile these actions with the teachings of Jesus? Because if your answer is we're all sinners, well, congratulations. You've just justified everyone and anyone for everything, ever. Until next time, keep questioning, keep thinking, and remember, WWJD, definitely not that. Good night, everyone.